Devakananda Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes, I'm Hare Krishna. So we welcome all the devotees on this very, very special day of Balarama Purnima, appearance day of Lord Shri Balaramji, and such a fortune that we have His Holiness Jaya Advaita Swami Maharaj with us to glorify the appearance of Lord Balaram, and His Holiness Jaya Advaita Swami Maharaj. Small introduction. Gaudiya Vaishnava Swami is an editor, publisher, and a teacher, and a disciple of His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Maharaj has been the senior most editor of the BBT for more than 40 years. Maharaj served as trustee of the BBT and auditor, also editor of Back to Godhead magazine, author of Vanity Karma book, and over and above, Maharaj is mentor, guide, spiritual teacher, inspirer for all of us, especially locally here in ISKCON Central New Jersey. We can say he's our life and soul in one way. And on this very special day of Balarama Purnima, Maharaj is with us to share with us, to enlighten us with the teachings of Lord Balaram, how Balaram is the servitude Godhead, and how we can also serve Lord Balaram in service of Lord Krishna. So Maharaj, mic is yours. Please unmute yourself and you can start your discussion. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Nandan Prabhu. Should we start with some kirtan?
Yes, we can have small 5 minutes kirtan.
That's good. Who's leading? Who's the volunteer? Radhesha, who's the volunteer?
Is there a volunteer? Let me check who is on the line here. Shrimati Mataji is there. Shrimati Mataji, would you like to lead?
The rule for my class is only Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Hare Krishna, nothing else. No Jayas, no this, no that. Just that much. If you can handle that, then you're in. Govindanandani Mataji is there. Govindanandani Mataji, are you in a position to sing?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can try.
Please do. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Arya invested with potency to spread the teachings, get the teachings, and spread the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over the world, starting with the English-speaking parts of the world in the C6.
Sorry, should I go ahead?
Yes, Mata, we can hear you. Go ahead. Jai Sri Krishna and then Hare Krishna. That's what Maharaj said. Obeisances to Prabhupada.
Yes, Mataji, you can please go ahead.
But you have to unmute yourself, though.
Govindanandani Mataji, you can unmute yourself and please continue.
Prabhuji, if it's getting late, I can do.
Yes, sorry, my phone is not cooperating.
Yeah, Shrimati Mataji, you can please go ahead.
Just the Jai Shri Krishna part, Prabhuji, right? Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nevishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Shyama Sundar Radha Shyama Sundar Radhe Jaya Radha Shyama Sundar Radha Shyama Sundar Radhe Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada God Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Well, I'm a little discouraged. You weren't listening to me, were you?
Maharaj, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I'm a little discouraged. You didn't listen to the instructions given, did you?
Oh, I'm sorry, Maharaj. I didn't know. I just joined and I heard Devaki Nandan Prabhu saying Jai Shri Krishna.
Oh, okay. Then you're excused. You
I just
weren't on the call.
joined. Oh, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
you
I
just joined.
And
Okay,
joined.
that's a legitimate excuse.
I mean, I just joined. I heard Devaki Nandan Prabhu.
Maharaji, that's a legitimate excuse. That's all right. You said it once. I accepted it. It's fine.
Thank you, Maharaj. What should I have done, Maharaj?
Well, what you did was all right. But if you've been earlier, what I asked for was Sri Krishna Chaitanya, obeisances to Prabhupada, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Hare Krishna, nothing else.
I did not hear that part, Maharaj. I just heard Devaki. Sorry, Maharaj.
That's okay. You joined late, so you didn't know.
Yeah.
For the information of all the devotees on the call, chanting Jai this, Jai that at the end of the kirtan is not something Prabhupada asked us to do. It's become an ISKCON custom, as so many customs develop over time. But Srila Prabhupada didn't do it. He chanted Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Hare Krishna, nothing else. And That's what I prefer that devotees do for my classes. What you do elsewhere, it's up to you. He did give permission that they could chant Radha Mandanishra and Radha Vrindavan Chandra. Now it's become, a rule that you have to chant the names of all the deities in the temple and so on. But it's not a rule that I subscribe to because it didn't come from Srila Prabhupada. And it's not necessary. You can if you want, but not in my class. Unless you came late and didn't hear the instructions, and that's okay. All right, you can tell I'm in a grouchy mood this morning. Apart from that, thank you for chanting nicely, and let us begin. Yes. Om Ajnana Timirantasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Tadhati Shapadantikam Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Jatapada Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Gaganatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Pralijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Shahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Vansha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I'm just working on compiling a book of Srila Prabhupada's Kirtan instructions. It will be maybe 100 pages. So these things are on my mind. So many things have wrong. Okay. Kritavan kila karmani saharamena Keshavaha Atimartyani Bhagavan Buddha Kapataman Shaha. This is first canto Srimad Bhagavatam. It's said, well, let's see. Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, along with Balarama, played like a human being, and so masked, he performed many superhuman acts. So Saharamena, the original personality of Godhead, is Krishna, and his first expansion is Lord Balarama. Ramadi Murti Shukala Niyamena Tishtan Nana Avatara Makarod Puvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhava Paramam Pumanyo Govindamadi Purusham. Tamahanvidam. The first expansion of the Lord, Ramadi, is Lord Balaram. And from Lord Balaram, all the other expansions, all the incarnations come. In the Brahma Samhita, Sahasrapatra Kamalam Gokulakyam Mahatpadam Tatkarnikaram Tathama Tadanantansha Sambhavam. This is the description of Goloka Vrindavan. The Gokula, the abode of the Lord, has 1,000 petals. It's like a lotus, and the lotus sprouts from a part of the Lord, Anantangsha, from a part of Lord Balarama, Ananta, the unlimited personality of Godhead, Lord Balarama. The entire existence of the spiritual world is supported by the energy of Lord Balarama. We find in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that the Lord Balaram provides everything for the Lord. It's of course, yes, he provides everything for the Lord, all of the paraphernalia for his abode in the material world also. Or rather, when the Lord appears in the material world as the Mahavishnu, then Lord Balaram appears as Anantashesh. And he provides the couch for the Lord, the umbrella for the Lord, the shoes for the Lord, everything, all the necessary umbrella, all the necessary paraphernalia is supplied by Lord Balaram. And the entire material world is expanded. The Mahavishnu, who's lying upon the Ananta, is also an expansion of Lord Balaram, because Lord Balaram is expanding as Sankarshan, Sankarshan's expanding gradually as the Mahavishnu, Bhagavakshay Vishnu, Kshirodakshay Vishnu. So these are all expansions of Lord Balaram, and lying on the Anantashesh, who's also an expansion of Lord Balaram. The entire material cosmic manifestation, and it's described that all the worlds are resting on the hoods of Anantashesh, who feels him to be like a mustard seed, like nothing. This great cosmic manifestation is nothing more than a few mustard seeds for Lord Balaram. Yes. He has different names, Sankarshan, Baladev. That was described by Gargamuni at the name-giving ceremony for the two boys. He gave the shorter description first of Lord Balaram, and then described Krishna. So Balaram is also known as Baladev, Sankarshan, Rama. Rama means the reservoir of pleasure, who gives pleasure. In our Mahamantra, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama. This Hare Rama can be differently understood. Someone says that Rama is another name of Krishna, that's all right. Someone says Balaram, that's all right. Even someone says Raghupati Ram, that's all right. Advaita Machuta Manadi Manantu Bhutam Adyam Pudana Purusham, Navayoganam Cha. So these, all of these incarnations, there's no fight about it, because Krishna is finally Advaita, one without a second. He's one without a second. And yet, he has innumerable forms. Although he's Advaitam, still, he appears in many different forms. Some of our scholars have termed this polymorphic theism, polymorphic monotheism. We're monotheists, there's only one God, but polymorphic, he has so many forms. But that doesn't mean that every form is God. That Ganesh is also God, Lord Shiva is also God, Durga is also God, I'm also God, you're also God. That's not accepted. That's not accepted. Just like post office boxes, they may have many forms. There may be bigger ones, smaller ones, but it doesn't mean any box is a post office box. There's distinctions. We accept the authorized incarnations of God, not the concocted so-called incarnations. So, Kritavan Kila Karmani, Buddha Kapatamanusha. Although Atimartyani Bhagavan, he's the personality of Godhead, Krishna and Rama. But they perform superhuman activities. Atimartya means superhuman. But Buddha Kapatamanusha, appearing like human beings. Krishna appears to be a cowherd boy, Balaram, another cowherd boy. They appear to be. They perform pastimes just like those of human beings. But Atimartyan, when necessary, they show wonderful activities. Lord Balaram kills the Pralambasura, he kills that Dhenukasura, so many asuras Krishna kills, and so many Lord Balaram kills. That's part of Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Chuduskrita. And part of Krishna's expansion, the Rama, enjoyment. This is Krishna's enjoyment, that Krishna, just like sometimes we have one son and then we think we should have a second child so that the first child will have someone to play with. He won't be lonely. So Krishna, for enjoyment, has an older brother, and they're enjoying. Rama, Lord Balaram, is giving pleasure to Krishna, as mentioned by Devaki Nandan Prabhu. Although he's the elder brother, he thinks that he's the servant of Krishna. The incarnations all have that feature. Even the Mahavishnu wanted to get the darshan of Krishna. So that's diversity. What is that? Variety is the mother of enjoyment. So Lord Balaram creates all sorts of varieties, and he himself is a manifestation of Krishna in a different feature. So Krishna is black, Balaram's white. Otherwise, practically, Prabhupada said that's practically the same, except Krishna is black and Balaram's white. But they also disagree with one another. So Krishna wanted Subhadra to marry Arjuna. Balaram wants her to marry Duryodhana because Duryodhana was his disciple. Therefore, another name of Balaram, Duryodhana Guru. Similarly, yes, so many disagreements. When Krishna kidnapped Rukmini, then finally he was going to kill Rukmi. Rukmi vowed that all right, Krishna's kidnapped my sister, but he can't get away with this. I vow that I'll show him, I'll kill him, I'll take her back. Otherwise, I'll never go back to my capital city. So Krishna defeated him easily. A few arrows, broke his bowstrings, finished him. Then he was going to kill him. But Rukmini was perturbed. Oh, please don't kill him. He's my brother after all. Please don't kill him. Please don't kill him. This is on this auspicious occasion, if you kill him, please don't kill him. So, all right, Krishna just tied him up and cut off his hair and mustaches in patches so that he became very odd looking. And that's, of course, what is that? Sampaditasya chakirtir maranada tirichite. For a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. In fact, there was a play performed in the New York Temple in Brooklyn during Prabhupada's time, Henry Street Temple, and the players performed the kidnapping of Rukmini. And Srila Prabhupada was present in the audience. Perhaps you've seen that picture of Srila Prabhupada sitting on a white rocking chair, applauding. So when this incident comes and Rukmi is disfigured or made odd looking, as Prabhupada said, then Srila Prabhupada said, oh, worse than death. Worse than death. So then Lord Balaram, Krishna had gone alone to kidnap Rukmini, but Lord Balaram thought that we'd better go follow him. So he came along with the soldiers of the other dynasty. And then they arrived and they saw that Krishna has bound Rukmi and made him funny looking. So then Lord Balaram scolded Krishna. Oh, this is not very good at all. He's our family member, and this doesn't befit our family that you've disfigured him in this way. This is not good at all. You shouldn't have done this. And then he turned to Rukmini and said, why are you so sentimentally attached to such a useless brother? All nonsense. And then again, he turned to Krishna and scolded Krishna. Then again, he turned to Rukmini and instructed her, what are you doing? Again, scolding Krishna. So, of course, the older brother, he has that privilege. He can reprimand the younger brother. So Lord Balaram's doing that. This is all enjoyment. This is all enjoyment. Krishna takes two forms, and he's, what would you say? Chastising, he's rebuking himself. Oh, Krishna, this is not very good. So this is Lord Balaram. Similarly, Lord Balaram becomes the guru of Duryodhana, who's the enemy of the Pandavas. And when Bhima defeated Duryodhana in club fighting, then Lord Balaram was disgusted. Oh, this is cheating. It's very bad. Although Krishna had given the hint how to do it. So these are transcendental pastimes. The Lord is enjoying in this way. Not that there should always be agreement, But the disagreement is also enjoyable. The disagreement is also enjoyable. But otherwise, even though Lord Balaram sometimes takes the superior part, that's described in Nectar of Devotion, that their main relationship is friendly. They're friends. But because Balarama is a little older, there's some parental feeling in Lord Balaram's attitude. What is the parental feeling? Protection. The parents feel they have to protect the child. So Yashoda Mai is always entrusting, charging Balaram, you please watch after Krishna, don't let him out of your sight. See that he's all right. She's always in anxiety. What about Krishna? So Balaram, you're the older brother, you take care. Of course, Krishna doesn't need anyone to take care. But out of love, Lord Balaram is taking that mood that he's friendly. They're friendly like brothers, but Balaram is the more responsible. He's the older, so he's taking care of Krishna. Apart from these things, Lord Balaram is also identified as the original Guru, the Guru Tattva, or the bona fide spiritual master, is considered representative of Lord Balaram, or Nityananda Prabhu. Balaram Hoilo Nitai, Rajendra Nandana Jay, Shachi Shuta Hoilo Jay, Balaram Hoilo Nitai. When Krishna comes as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then Balaram comes as Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Rajendra Nandana Jay, Shachi Shuta Hoilo Jay, Balaram Hoilo Nitai. And Dina Hina Yata Chilo, Hariname Uttari, Tar Sakshi Jagayanat. Their business is to uplift the fallen souls. Dina Hina Yata Chilo, Harinam Uttari, to uplift them all through Harinam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. And the evidence is Jagai Mata. Nityananda Prabhu delivered these two fallen brothers, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered them by the desire of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur were going out every day preaching. Even though Haridas Thakur was chanting so many rounds every day. But they were also preaching to uplift the fallen souls. So, and Srila Prabhupada said that in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, one Jagai Matai, now so many Jagais and Matais are being delivered by the mercy of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, or as he's called in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nityananda Ram, because that Sri Balaramji appears as Nityananda Prabhu. In the Bhagavatam, we find that when the Kurukshetra war began, Lord Balaram was not very happy about it. And he decided not to take part in the fighting. So instead, he said, all right, I'll go on pilgrimage. So he went on pilgrimage, but at Naimisharanya, there was some incident that the sages were sitting and having Bhagavad Gita. And when Lord Balaram entered the assembly, the speaker that Romaharshan Sutta thought that I don't need to stand. Everybody else, all the other sages and great persons, all stood because Lord Balarama, the personality of Godhead, has entered the assembly. But the rule is that the speaker doesn't have to rise, just like it's a rule that if someone comes in, you get up and offer respect. But if you're respecting prasadam, then you don't have to interrupt. You don't have to stand. So similarly, it's a rule that the Bhagavatam speaker, he's posted there, he doesn't have to get up to welcome guests or so on. Someone else will do that. His job is to sit and speak. He's, after all, the representative of Vyasadeva. Of course, even Vyasadeva, who was in the assembly, he also stood up. But this Romaharshan Sutta, he didn't stand. He thought, no, I'm the Bhagavatam speaker. But Lord Balaram considered this impudent. Hey, Baba, you're the Bhagavatam speaker, but I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What nonsense are you? He should have stood up. He should have offered respect to Lord Balaram. One feature of the bona fide spiritual master is that he should be humble and meek. That doesn't mean, just like Srila Prabhupada, he could be fiery, he could be strong, but in relationship to the personality of Godhead, he was always very humble. So now the personality of Godhead has appeared in the form of Lord Balaram, and this Romaharshan Sutta is sitting on the asana. So Lord Balaram thought that this guy's a rascal. He's a Sutta also. He's taking the position of a Brahmin, but he's coming from a low family, pratilom heritage. That means his mother was of a higher community than the father. That's not very good. The father should be in the superior position. So that's considered a lower birth, pratilom. But of course, we don't consider these things. If someone is a disciple of a bona fide Vaishnava and he's engaged in the service of the Lord, then we don't care. Vaishnava jati buddhi. It's hellish to think of a Vaishnava in terms of birth, community, all of these things. That's material consideration. So that was all disregarded. But when he acted like a upstart, then Balaram remembered. Then it all kicks in again. If we're on the transcendental platform, none of these things matter. But if we're not acting properly on the transcendental platform, then these things are remembered. The Lord remembered. Who does he think he is? Who does he think he is? So then Lord Balaram killed him with a kusha grass. Kusha grass is just it's a little bit more than the grass that you find on your lawn. It's more solid, but it's not something that it's not a lethal weapon. It's not something that they won't let you on the plane with. It's still just grass. But in the hand of Lord Balaram, it became a lethal weapon. And Romaharshan Sutta, who in the painting bears a resemblance, by the way, to a popular guru of the 1960s, that Romaharshan Sutta was at once killed. And then, of course, it was the sages were, created an uproar. Now the Bhagavatam, the speaker has been killed, and particularly the sages said to the Lord, "Sir, of course you can do what you like, but you've just killed the speaker, and we'd granted him long life for speaking. This was a sacrifice that's supposed to go on for thousands of years. We granted him long life, and you've killed him. And not only that, but he was a Brahmin, at least considered a Brahmin. So you've killed a Brahmin. So this is not very good. So Lord Balaram said, all right, I'll bring him back to life. No, don't do that. You wanted him killed, so it's fitting that he's been killed. So now it was a dilemma. Don't bring him back to life, but he shouldn't be killed. So then Lord Balaram solved the problem that it's an aphorism that the son is considered the representative of the father. The son is considered the representative of the father. So we'll put his son on the asana, and he can continue. So the sages all accepted this, but still they said that, of course, for you there's nothing sinful, but just to set the example for others, you should do something for the killing of a Brahmin. So at their request, Lord Balaram killed one disturbing demon, Balwal, and he went on pilgrimage to so many holy places all over India, North India, South India. There's so many temples and holy places sanctified by the visit of Lord Balaram. So Lord Balaram is the original teacher, also original spiritual master, and he's the spiritual master is accepted as the representative of the Lord. Again, as mentioned by Devaki Nandan Prabhu, the Lord Balaram considers himself a servant of the Lord, and the bona fide spiritual master also always considers himself a servant of the servant of the servant of the personality of Godhead. So the mercy of the Lord comes down through the spiritual master, and service rendered to the spiritual master goes up to the personality of Godhead. Devaki Nandan Prabhu mentioned that how do we serve Lord Balaram. At the present moment, we're not in the spiritual position in the spiritual world. We're not able to take part in the pastimes of Krishna Balaram. But we can serve the representative of Lord Balaram, the bona fide spiritual master. And that's as good as serving Lord Balaram personally, or better. Srila Prabhupada quoted, Gopi Bhartu Padakamaleo Dasha Dashanudas. That Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered himself servant of the servant of the servant. And Srila Prabhupada said, every time you add servant, your position is better. Servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. The more times we add servant, the higher our position. So these things are some thoughts on this Balaram Punima. Lord Balaram is a little older than Krishna. So Krishna Janmashtami is coming. But today the Balaram Punima is celebrated, and we glorify Lord Balaram. There's more, but maybe we can stop here for the moment and see what kind of questions you might have. If any. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, Dandal Pranam, Maharaj. So I have a question about Rukmi pastime, right? Balaram actually avoids killing of Rukmi, but he himself kills Rukmi on his daughter's wedding.
Yes.
Yeah. So can you explain? This is like little bit, perplexing,
Well, of course, first it was Krishna who avoided killing Rukmi, and Balaram is scolding Krishna, you shouldn't have even cut off his hair this way. But then later, the Rukmi was still obnoxious. He's still obnoxious. You know the history that he challenged Lord Balaram to a game of chess. And Lord Balaram wasn't that good a chess player, but of course Kshatriyas like to compete. So he accepted, and he was winning. But every time he'd throw a winning hand, then Rukmi would say, no, I won. And somehow there'd be some cheating, and Balaram would be declared the loser. So Balaram was becoming angry. A voice from the sky even appeared and said, Lord Balaram is the winner. And still Rukmi was pushing on. No, I was the winner, you're the loser. So then Lord Balaram lost his temper and killed Rukmi. And Krishna didn't say anything. Krishna remained silent. Because on the one side, if he said anything against that killing, then Balaram would be displeased. And if he said anything in favor of the killing, then that wouldn't be very good for his relationship with Rukmini. She would be disturbed. So Krishna didn't say anything. He kept mum. He didn't say anything. So that's also a feature of Lord Balaram's personality, that he acts independently also. It's not that because Krishna acts one way, Balaram has to act the same way. He can act in a different way. He can act in a different way. And on this occasion, and he also can act differently on different occasions. The first occasion, oh, it's not very good. Why have you done this to Rukmi? And second occasion, kill him. Second occasion, he kills him. So these are all the sports of the personality of Godhead. That Natyo Nachaduro Yata, Kunti Devi says that you appear like an actor. You appear like an actor on the stage. So they perform these dramas, these activities. They enjoy these things. Krishna and Balaram enjoy these pastimes. And Balaram he has a different personality. He gets involved. He gets angry at Jamuna Devi also because he was drinking that baruni, an intoxicating beverage, and then he wanted to bathe with have water sports in the Jamuna with his gopis. He has his own set of gopis, and so he ordered Jamuna, you come here. And Jamuna basically said, "You're drunk. I'm not coming." And then Balaram became angry, and he threatens to cut Jamuna up into little pieces and began dragging her with his plow. Began dragging the Jamuna with his plow. Then Jamuna surrendered. Yes, you're the personality of Godhead. I shouldn't have hesitated. I accept. So this is Balaram. He acts differently from Krishna. Is there a problem?
No, Maharaj, it's like very disturbing and like, I can say it's very difficult to understand the Balram's pastime, As you said, just like he did take the intoxication, the Varuni, the liquid, but Krishna never did. So it's very difficult to understand Balram's pastime.
Krishna has his own things, We have 4 regulative principles: no gambling, no intoxication, no meat eating, no illicit sex. So we don't see meat eating, but gambling, both Krishna and Balaram, especially Balaram, we see he's gambling, intoxication, and Krishna's playing around with someone else's wives. That's definitely illicit. So Krishna doesn't get a clean shit either. But that's all material calculation.
Right.
Material calculation, it appears that Balaram's taking intoxicants, so he's, like a drunkard, and Krishna is playing with other men's wives, so he's a lecher, he's worse than a playboy. But that's all material vision. But these things are all transcendental pastimes of the Lord, and he's enjoying that way. We can't enjoy that way.
Right.
We can't enjoy that way. When we do it, then it's intoxication, no intoxication. Otherwise, you're degraded. But when Lord Balaram takes intoxicants, we worship him. Just like Krishna, he's fleeing the battlefield. He's fleeing the battlefield. So for a Kshatriya to flee the battlefield is abominable. That story is there in Rajasthan, how the warrior came back to his palace and his queen said, "Who are you?" "No, I'm your husband." "No, you can't be my husband. My husband wouldn't come back." Either he would have been victorious or he would have been killed on the battle. So you can't be my husband. A husband, a Kshatriya never flees. But Krishna fled the battlefield. In the Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna, what is that? Payad Ranadu Paratam Manchante Tvam Maharata Yesham Shatam Bahumato Budva Yasasi Lagavam Avachavadam Shabahun Vadishanti Tavahita Nindantastava Samartyam Tato Dukutaram Nukim. If you leave the battlefield, you'll be ridiculed. Oh, hero of Kurukshetra, Arjun, the eunuch. So it's very bad you can't flee the battlefield on some pretext of nonviolence. But then Krishna himself flees the battlefield. So when a Kshatriya leaves the battlefield, we ridicule him. But when Krishna leaves the battlefield, we worship him. We build him a temple, Ranchorji, we honor him. Oh Lord, you're the Ranchorji, please accept my Dandavat pranams. So that's Krishna. When he's dancing with other men's wives, we worship him. When he's fleeing in the battlefield, we worship him. When he's drinking Varuni beverage, we worship him. Because he's not acting on the platform of mundane considerations. These are all displays of his internal pleasure potency. So, yes, it's difficult to understand. Achintya, Krishna's another description is achintya, inconceivable. No one can understand the personality of God fully. Only to some extent by following the explanations of the acharyas and by devotional service, we can understand something. But if these had been faults, then the acharyas wouldn't be, they'd be saying forget it. But they're all saying yes. Balarama is to be worshipped. That whole chapter is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita glorifying Lord Balarama. Glorifying Lord Balarama. So that means his pastimes are all beyond the rules of the material world. Ati Martyani, Bhagavan. Ati Martyani means not on the platform of human beings, although Buddha Kapada Manusha, although they were masked as human beings, they're the personality of Godhead. Is that okay?
Thank you, Maharaj. Yeah.
Thank you.
Amritananda Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Happy to hear and see you again, Maharaj. My question is.
You see me, but I don't see you. Oh, now I see. Well, do I? Let's see. Who's speaking?
Amritanand Prabhu. Das.
Amritananda Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Das. Thank you, Maharaj. Happy to see you and hear you, Maharaj.
Happy to hear you, even though I don't see you.
Maharaj, we get so many instructions and we learn, because at the end of the day, all these pastimes are to learn, and to learn from Vaishnavas like you, Prabhupada, Acharya, Guru Parampara. So that's how these pastimes is, so that we get instructions and will help our devotional service. Now, there are so many do's and don'ts in devotional service, not just the regulative principles, but also when you're doing DT service and so on and so forth. Now, I was understanding this Romaharshana pastime because the etiquette, there is an etiquette we follow, and the speaker doesn't get up. But of course, when the personality of Godhead comes in, everything, he transcends everything. Whatever is applicable to us is not applicable to him, as you nicely explained about, drinking of alcohol and the illicitness and all those things. So that is understandable. And Romaharshana, who's sitting on the Vyasasana, should have known this about the etiquettes, etc., don't apply to the personality of Godhead, and he should have stood up. So that's understandable. But Maharaj, when you're doing deity service, now deity is no different than Krishna as what we understand. And if there is nobody in the temple, you stop doing your deity service, and then you go and receive the guest who has come to see Krishna. So this kind of seems contradictory to the Roman pastime. So how do we reconcile that understanding?
Actually, it's consistent that Krishna is important, but the devotee is considered more important. I can interrupt my business to perform that service. So that means a respectable person. I can stop my business to greet a respectable person. So no one is more respectable than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Normally the speaker, he doesn't have to interrupt. Of course, if no one else were there to receive a Vaishnava, he could have done it. He could have gotten up and received the Vaishnava. So what to speak of Vishnu? If he considered that if I'm worshiping the deity, if I'm speaking Bhagavatam, still I can interrupt everything to honor a Vaishnava. To honor a Vaishnava, I can stop everything. Then what to speak of honoring the Lord himself when he comes? So he should have thought about these things. And because he didn't, then Balaram thought that means he's full of himself. He's puffed up. He's arrogant, impudent. So he shouldn't be sitting there. Why should someone arrogant, impudent, disrespectful to the Lord himself be sitting on the asana, supposedly representing me? He should be killed instead. So it all fits together, I think, as far as I can see. Is that okay? And now I got to turn the page and see and get your darshan also. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Maharaj. Yes, Maharaj. Perfect answer. Cleared up. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
We have Bhakta KV Please, Prabhuji, go ahead, unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for a wonderful class. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, okay then. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I was just, while you were describing the pastimes of Lord Balaram and how he may seem to go against Lord Krishna sometimes in a playful way, it brought me back to the pastime of Mother Yashoda and Krishna having eaten the dirt. And I'm thinking, why would his brother snitch on him? But I see how that he's just setting the ground for him to have a loving exchange with his devotee. So I just wanted to appreciate that. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, even your older brother says that you're eating dirt. So let me see. Thank you. I saw some other hands. I think I did.
Yeah, that is Bhakti Ratnakar Prabhu, BRD. Good.
Bhakti Ratnakar Prabhu, are you there?
Looks like he disappeared
Okay.
from the Zoom.
Time I can ask Maharaj if I
He
may.
zoomed out.
Maharaj, I will ask it.
Tell me.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, you mentioned Lord Shri Balaram's disagreement with Krishna, and these disagreements are also joyful in Krishna Balaram's Leela. We find in our dealings with each other, disagreements are joyful. So what we need to do, what we need to learn Krishna Balaram's disagreements and pastimes, that we can also be joyful even if we have variety, even if we have disagreements. So something, please, Maharaj, if you can.
Well, that's one thought, that when we have disagreements with other devotees, you can think, well, even Lord Balaram and Krishna have some disagreements. So I don't have to take it so seriously. Even Krishna Balaram have fights, so it's not such a big thing. Not that we should take it as a license that, all right, then I'll start a quarrel. But if there's some quarrel, some disagreement, well, even Krishna and Balaram, they disagree sometimes. I don't have to take it so heavily.
Thank you so much.
This is variety. Srila Prabhupada wrote a well-known letter in which he said that some devotee had said that this is a sign of impersonalism, that the devotees are at odds with one another. Prabhupada said, no, it's a sign of personalism, because we're all individuals, so sometimes there's different opinions. But that doesn't mean that there should be, we should be discouraged. That although there's different opinions, we're all serving the same cause. We're all serving Krishna. So that disagreement shouldn't be a cause of discouragement.
Somebody else had a question, or please go ahead.
And those who enjoy disagreements, by the way, can be encouraged that even if I go to the spiritual world, hey, I can still have disagreements there. Krishna himself enjoys these things. Therefore, he wanted to start a quarrel with Rukmini. We've been married for so long, but better late than never. You you really married the wrong man, and it's not too late to reverse the error. You could find another husband. So he wanted to start some argument, because in family life, that's enjoyable. The husband and wife, when there's some teasing and quarreling, then that's a kind of enjoyment. So in the spiritual world, these things are relished. Oneness is boring, finally. Oneness is boring. We want some disagreement now and then. Adds a little spice, just like you add black pepper to sweet rice. So when you add to the kheer a little black pepper, then it creates a nice taste. It creates a nice taste, although it's contradictory. It's supposed sweet rice is sweet, and black pepper is pungent. A little bit of black pepper, and it adds a happy taste. Is that all right? Something else?
Yes, thank you so much.
Maharaj, if no one has a question, I could ask a second question if time permits.
Sure. You can ask a second and a third.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, this is not so much on philosophy, but the practical application of association. We all stress on, Vaishnav Sangha. Now, recently, I'm still in Pune, and here the COVID situation is again spiking with the Delta variants. And devotees have been out of association for a long time, albeit with, we have these Zoom calls and virtual association. It's like a saving grace, but still not the same as meeting in person. And slowly the temple has opened up and people are coming in. And recently for Janmashtami, I believe there were some 700-800 people in the temple. And one of the devotees who was in our New Jersey congregation settled in Pune, he was very enthusiastic. He has arranged for a program with other devotees, about 200 people, a private program in the society where they live. You may know him, Maharaj, Krishna Karuna Prabhu. You named his deities. So then he was inviting me over, and there are other devotees he has invited. And I'm a little skeptical in a crowd with 200 people downstairs in the parking garage. They're going to remove the cars. There won't be social distancing, etc. So we were talking about Maharaj COVID, and at the same time that devotees want to get together. It's a devotional act of devotional service where there'll be katha, there will be kirtan, and so on and so forth. So I was explaining this apprehension. And then finally, he asked me a question which stumped me. And all I had to do is pass the ball on. And I said, please ask some senior Vaishnav. And I thought I'd ask this to you on his behalf. The question which I put forward to him, Maharaj, is as an organizer, COVID is such an insidious thing. And not everyone, you may insist, but not everyone obeys the, wearing even a mask properly. Including devotees, social distancing. So
You're breaking up a little bit there.
Asymptomatic carrier.
Say that again.
Maharaj, so the thing is that when programs are organized, not everyone obeys the mask standard, whether to wear it properly, or keep social distance and all that. And it's impossible to monitor. So I asked him this question that, Prabhu, if as an organizer, you have maybe an asymptomatic carrier and he infects 5, 10, 15 of these devotees, some of them get critical and some of them may even lose their life. How would that sit on your conscience? So he thought for a while. He's saying, I really don't know how to balance it. The COVID scene is real, and at the same time, we are all kind of desperate. So what would you do in my place? And I didn't have an answer. What would I do in your place? I said, I would do a Zoom call is best what I can do. He's saying we've already organized that invites have gone up and RSVPs have come in. So what should we do? And I just said, you ask some temple senior Vaishnav. I don't have an answer for you. So, and this thing happens almost as the time of separation increases, Maharaj, the desperation to be in each other's company physically, it's proportionate, it increases. So how do we handle this? What's the right thing to do? It's damned if you do, damned if you don't.
The COVID-19 pandemic is going on, and
Yeah.
we're feeling stifled by not having physical association. Zoom calls are not quite enough. So what do we do? Do we have risky large meetings? Do we observe strict discipline and say no large meetings? What do we do? One suggestion is hold programs outside. The COVID virus is an airborne virus, and it is highly transmissible, especially in enclosed spaces. When you're outside, even here in America, from what I've told, the CDC has said that when you're outside, you don't have to wear a mask. I don't know if they've updated that advice, but anyway, the idea is that you're much safer when you're outside. The wind blows the virus away. So if you're going to hold programs, why not hold them outside? There's so many rooftops, there's so many grounds available. Hold programs outside. Is that, you asked for some practical thought. Is that practical?
Yes, the outside thing works, Maharaj, but with social distancing. And here, though it is outside, it's in the parking area, the still parking. So it's like semi-enclosed. It's not fully enclosed. It's semi-enclosed for there to be airflow. But the number of people packed in over there would be unlike, let's say, you're going for a jog or a walk in the park.
If you have walls and people are packed in within the walls, then you're not getting the full benefit of being outside. So if you're outside, then that's no longer the same issue. Organize it in such a way that people are genuinely outside. And you may also consider, do we really need 200 to feel happy? Could we be happy with 50 people in smaller groups and so on? It's also possible. Not that unless there's 2,000 people, we won't feel that we got any Vaishnava Sangha. Smaller groups are safer. All other things being equal. Again, these are not spiritual, these are just practical things. We want to get together, we thrive in groups. So as far as possible, if you can meet outside, meet outside and then have smaller groups. Those are two thoughts.
Okay, Maharaj.
Mm-hmm. And then the third thing is that there are other things devotees can do to protect their, to make themselves less susceptible to COVID. They should make sure they're not vitamin D3 deficient. And there are various other things that maybe I won't get into right now. It's not that masks are the only thing that help keep one from getting COVID. Masks and social distancing. There are other things that can help. But we're talking about Balarama Tattva, not COVID Tattva, so we'll go into that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Chanting Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
That gives ultimate protection. Either you won't get COVID, or you'll get COVID, but you'll if you die, you'll go back to Godhead, which is perfectly acceptable. If you live, you'll be Krishna conscious. So either way, there's no loss. One should take shelter of the holy name of Krishna in all circumstances.
Maharaj, but that shelter of the holy mean doesn't mean that I can be risky, no? I need to take precautions.
Well, you can. It's up to you. Just to tell some high risk stories. When our Mahavishnu Maharaj, Gujarati Mahavishnu Maharaj, had his stroke, they rushed him to the hospital. They gave him all this medicine. He put the medicine in his pocket. He didn't check any of it. He just decided to chant Hare Krishna and depend on Krishna. And he did fine. The doctors were, I think, not even knowing what he'd done. They were amazed at how quickly he recovered. So that's one story. There was another story told to me by Bhakti Charan how one of the sons of Srila Prabhupada's sister got cholera or something like that, something extremely serious, and she just gave him Hayanam and Charanamrita. He recovered. So these things are there, but then again, sometimes Srila Prabhupada said these things depend on your faith. If you have that strong faith, then you can, just let everything else go. But the rest of us may want to be more cautious. And also, it's fine to put your own life at risk or put it in Krishna's hands that way. You may not want to impose that on others.
Perfect. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you again. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Well, there is a question/comment text in the chat.
Radhesha, everything for the service of Krishna is a manifestation of Balarama, paraphernalia, instruments, etc. In this way, he's the original spiritual master, showing how to serve. But could you expand on that topic of Balaram and Nityananda being the original spiritual masters? There must be so much more on the topic. Yes, of course, there's so much more, especially Nityananda Prabhu is prominent in the role of spiritual master. Lord Balaram is not taking that role exactly. But when he appears as Nityananda Prabhu, then he's completely in the role of spiritual master teaching. It fully shows that eagerness to uplift the fallen conditioned souls. That's the mood of Nityananda Prabhu. Otherwise, this point was already made, but can be expanded on, that the Lord, as Balaram, as Nityananda Prabhu, in all of these forms, he thinks of himself as a servant. He thinks of himself as a servant. So that's the real identity of the spiritual master. The spiritual master is, we say he's the master, but in his thinking, he's a servant. It's not that this is a position that I should aspire for, to be a master. If I become a spiritual master, I'll have all these disciples to serve me. They can provide security for me. If I won't have to work, they'll send money. If I ever have any difficulty, they'll take care of me. If anyone wants to mess with me, I'll have my disciples to, rally to my cause. So in this way, it's very good. And especially I can visit different homes and eat very nicely. So if one thinks that all of these facilities, and they'll glorify me, everybody likes love. So I'll have all these people to love me and say good things about me, and they won't badmouth me like everyone else. So I can surround myself with these wonderful people who think that I'm the greatest thing on earth. And in this way, I'll be very happy. If one thinks like that, then he's completely disqualified. The spiritual master is not meant to be an enjoyer of the facilities provided by the disciples. He's not meant to be, yes, he's not the enjoyer. Although he's representing the supreme enjoyer, he's not the enjoyer. He's meant to give enjoyment to the personality of Godhead and engage his disciples in also giving enjoyment to the personality of Godhead. That's the spiritual master's position. What is that? Yajan. He performs sacrifice, worship, and he engages others in worship of the Lord. That's his job. Yajan, patan, dana, patigraha. So the spiritual master is a servant. That's his position. And everything is meant for that. Ekala Ishwar Krishna, our Sabhritya. There's only one supreme enjoyer, supreme master, and everyone else is his servant. So even the Lord himself takes the role of servant, as Nityananda Prabhu, as Balarama, as Anantadev. They're serving, and they engage us in service. The spiritual master may accept so many things, but not for himself. He's not eager for comforts and enjoyments. He's meant for giving pleasure to the Lord and helping the disciples. Even that, he's the servant of the Lord and he's the servant of the disciples. Just like Srila Prabhupada said, Yashoda Maya is the best servant of Krishna. The mother is always thinking, what about the child? What about the child? So that's the parental relationship, the mother, the father. So the spiritual master is always thinking about the welfare of the disciples and serving them. How can I help this disciple? How can I engage this disciple? How can this disciple advance in Krishna consciousness? He's meant to be in that way, the servant of the disciples. Not that the disciple thinks, yes, I have a guru, it's very good, he's meant to serve me. But the spiritual master thinks like that I'm the servant of the Lord and the servant of his servants. So in that way, bhakti means service. Service to the Lord, service to the devotees. And the spiritual master is supposed to be expert in serving, not expert in enjoying. The material world is full of people who are expert in cheating one another in order to enjoy. At someone else's expense, if I can enjoy, that's quite good. But on the spiritual platform, we're not meant to enjoy at the expense of others. That's not the business of the guru. That's not the business of the guru. But let everyone be happy. Sarve, what is that? Sukhina bhavantu. Let everyone be happy in Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada, we saw, for his own happiness, he could have stayed in Vrindavan, lived a peaceful and quiet existence, in the best place in the universe, chanted Hare Krishna, had the association of devotees and darshan of Radha Damodar and everything. But he went through so much trouble to serve. My Guru Maharaj has given me an order. I have to serve. I have to serve. I have to serve. So that's the mood of the Nityananda Prabhu and the mood of the bona fide Guru. I have to serve. Is that okay?
Thank you so much, Gurudev. That was, wonderful.
Thank you, Rakesh. Anything else? Well, we have 4 minutes left. We could chant Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for a wonderful class. Can I ask one question if this time allows? Or should we go ahead with Kirtan? It's okay.
It's up to you.
Devkinandan
It's up to
Prabhu is
Devkinandan. He's in charge. I just work here.
Please go ahead, Sachin.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Maharaj, you were talking about Krishna's illicit relationships and the alcohol, and on the other hand, Radharani being married. So sometimes as devotees, we all understand that this is all on the transcendental platform. These are all leelas. But how to explain this to non-devotees? Because these questions do come up. I remember my mom asking me long time back, but she was listening to it, but she said Radharani was married. So questions like, so how to explain like that? So I didn't have really, I did tell her it's transcendental, you have to read the scriptures and all that, but how to explain this to non-devotees, what Krishna did or Balaram did, in like simple words so that they can understand.
First thing is, we generally don't talk about these things with the non-devotees. These topics are not meant for them.
But if questions are asked, Maharaj?
But questions are asked. So then the first thing they should understand, who is Krishna? Before we talk about what he's doing, whose wife, who's this, who's that, who is Krishna? What is your understanding? Who is Krishna? So if they say that Krishna is Bhagavan, so Bhagavan means he can do as he likes. What is that? Swarat in Bhagavatam. He can do as he likes. Who are you to say, oh, this is wrong, this is immoral, this is that? If he's Bhagavan, he sets the standard of what he wants to do, and you're not in the position to criticize. That's the first thing. What is that? Then the next thing is that the example is given that the great persons, what is that? Tejiya sam nadoshaya. The great persons can do things that we can't do. Speak about intoxicants, why get on Lord Balaram's case? What about Lord Shiva? He's totally into ganja. Didn't wait for America to legalize it. He just, the stuff is good, I'm going to smoke it. So Lord Shiva is a ganja smoker. Does that mean that there's something wrong with Lord Shiva? No, because Tejiya Sam Nadosha, he's super powerful. Leave aside Lord Shiva, what about the sun? Suryadev. The sun drinks urine. People pass urine all over the place in fields, and the sun drinks it. Evaporates the urine. That evaporates means the sun shines on it and is essentially drinking it. So now is the sun contaminated? Tejiya Samnadosha. For the super powerful, there's no question of contamination. Just like even, mundane on the spot example, that if you're vaccinated, you can go anywhere. The doctors get vaccinated, now they can go here and there and everywhere. The ordinary person can't do that, unvaccinated person. An imperfect example, and probably not to be used again. But the powerful person, this is known to the Romans also. They had a proverb: what's okay for the king of the gods is not okay for the cow. In Latin, it's a pun, or not a pun, but a play on words. But in any case, what the king of the gods can do, the cow is not entitled to do. Another way of putting it is that rank has its privileges. Or another way, how many parents have told their children, I can do this, but you can't do this, right? And the child argues back, but you're doing it. But yeah, I can do that because I'm an adult. But it doesn't mean that children can also do the same thing, because they're children. If I walk across the street alone, it's not a problem. If you walk across the street alone, you might get hit by a car. Little children. So there's a difference between the adults and the children. It's not that the same rules apply for everyone. So Lord Shiva, he's smoking ganja, but he's drinking an ocean of poison also. So his throat becomes blue. He's called Nilakant. So when you can drink an ocean of poison, you can smoke ganja also. And Krishna, he's lifting Govardhan Hill. So a person who can drink poison can smoke ganja. A person who can lift Govardhan Hill can dance with anyone he likes. This has nothing to do with the material world.
Thank
and as
you,
you said,
Maharaj.
have them read the books, they'll understand more.
Thank you, Maharaj. Wonderful explanation. Thank you so much, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj, for enlightening us on the past.
Thank you, David.
Just also wanted to share with all the Vaishnavas assembled here that 6 years ago, under the guidance of His Holiness Jaya Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Swami Maharaj, and many other senior Vaishnavas, we became caretakers of Shri Sham Sundar Ji, Jagannath Baldev Subhra, and Gaur Nitai. So today is the day. So we're celebrating Brahma Day. This is our annual celebration. We were given this opportunity to serve the Lord and devotees. So we pray to the lotus feet of all the Vaishnavas, especially His Holiness Jaya Swami Maharaj, to bless us so we stay grounded, we stay humble, to take these services, devotional services that been given to us mercifully by the Lord and all the devotees. And we never feel proud and puffed up and just want to from the love. We don't come anything. We also celebrate this. There's some Maharaj. Yes, thank you so much, Maharaj. So to celebrate this Brahmostava festival, we started this wonderful series of 4 Sundays, starting from today. Maharaj actually opened our hearts by instructing us the teachings of Lord Balarama, how to be joyful in disagreements, and keep performing devotional services. And then now our hearts are open for Lord Krishna to appear next week. His Grace Amrinder Prabhu will open a discussion on the pastimes of Janmashtami, appearance of Lord Shri Krishna, and then followed by the third week, His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Swami Maharaj will share with us the liberation of all the demons in Vrindavan, and Gokula by Krishna and Balarama. And then finally, His Grace Madhavanand Prabhu, 4th week, will share with us the pastimes of Srimati Radharani, the consort of Lord Krishna. So these 4 weekends, starting today, next 3, same Zoom link. You can please attach, same time, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you will be given the opportunity to hear from these very senior, wonderful Vaishnavas who can enlighten our hearts. We stay connected in our devotional services to Lord Krishna. Thank you so much. Our Krishna Namanand Prabhu, would you have any other more announcements? Today we are celebrating Brahmostav starting at 5 p.m. in our temple. Please, we humbly request, touch your lotus feet. You're vaccinated or you're not vaccinated, especially if you're not vaccinated, but even you're vaccinated, please have your mask on and have your mask on fully. That covers your mouth and nose. So you are protected, and you also protect other devotees around you. That's your civil responsibility. Other than following CDC guidelines, that's also there. But as a Vaishnava, please be very careful for the health of your body. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned to Srila Sanatana Goswami that Sanatana Goswami, this is not your body, this is Krishna's body. So please take care of it. It will be used for Krishna service. So we all are trying. Some of us, could get this disease, that disease, but at least we try our best. So in that spirit, we humbly request all of you, and you please spread the word to all your near and dear who hear you more than they hear us, that this is very important to all of us, that we stay safe and also keep everybody else safe around us. That's the spirit. Thank you so much. Krishna Namanand Prabhu, you have anything to share?
Yeah. Thank you so much, His Holiness Jaya Maharaj. All glories to you. Wonderful narration and explaining the detailed aspects of Balaram Tattva. We are indebted to you for your care and love always for many years. I was not there in 2004, but I heard how by your mercy this whole our congregation development and everything started here in ISKCON of Central New Jersey. So without your mercy, we cannot do anything. So please bless us so that we can progress nicely in devotional service collectively together and serve you. And please, Srila Prabhupada. So today is fasting till noon, and following grain prasadam you can take afternoon. And then also program is starting at 4:30. 4:30 is Tulsi Arati, followed by Prabhupada Arati. 5 o'clock is 5 to 6 will be Surya Vahan. 6 to 6:30. 6 to 6:30 is the Gaura Arati, and 6:30 to 7:30 will be Abhishek. So we might, we'll have Kirtan during that time. We may show some 10 minutes video or something on Balaram Tattva from Srila Prabhupada or other Vaishnavas. So that is the today evening schedule. So obviously with mass come, please come. And if you like to serve, do any service, please let us know. And you can bring honey or any other boga items, fruits, nuts, or any groceries you would like to use, give as an offering to Lord Balaram. Yes, there is a Varani drink, General Lord Balaram drinks. Yes, some temples may do it. But yes, for Lord's offering, anything can be done. No Chaturmasa, no rules for Lord. But for us, we should consider whether when it comes to Pan or Varuni or any of that. So it's up to you what you like to take. But yeah, follow the instruction of Maharaj. So that's better to do for us. Then next Janmashtami is there, August 30th, Monday, Sri Krishna Janmashtami. So very, very important day for all of us, just like today. The fasting till midnight. We have program on Monday all day, especially in the evenings, 6 or 7 p.m. till midnight. There will be midnight arati and everything. So please join us with mass calm. Prasadam will be served as well today also. And then next day also, Tuesday also, Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, the Divine Gita Bhakti Vedanta, Srila Prabhupada's appearance day. A very, very important day, fasting till noon. So on Janmashtami, fast till midnight, and then Ekadasi Prasadam. After sunrise, we need to fast again for Prabhupada appearance day. Yeah, that is those are the quick announcements. So second Chaturmas is starting fasting from yoga today, which means we shouldn't take directly. Yes, there are cases where you can take buttermilk, you can take with some other things which are offered to the Lord as a festival day. But that is up to you. General consideration is not to take. So those are the announcements. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Krishna. So we will end our Krishna Katha today.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Emanjana Prabhu, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you Maharaj for your association in starting the first Krishna Kathamrita series. Just wanted to announce that we have Krishna Balaram Vesh of Lord Jagannath Baldev Subhadra on the altar. This is the first time this Vesh is offered to the Lord, and you can take the opportunity to have darshan of the special darshan of Krishna Balaram Vesh, of so many other Veshas. This is the Krishna Balaram Vesh, is the first time we are offering this wonderful, blissful darshan. So please take the opportunity when you get a chance. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And thank you, Maharaj. We're indebted to you for your association and your wonderful katha. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So we will end our discussion by offering obeisances to the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpa Divine grace, Prabhupada ki